Hi everyone, it's Mauser here. Welcome back to the channel today, and today we're taking a little bit of a left turn or a right turn, or whichever way you want to turn, and we're going to do a little travel edition today on the channel. I know we normally discuss hiking, but I'm about to head overseas for a couple of months with my 4 kids and my wife, and it's going to be a mission. But having done a lot of travel in the past, I'm pretty well prepared. I organise everything myself, I book everything myself, and I wouldn't be able to do it without some of these things that I'm going to talk about today. And today we are looking at the apps I use on my phone or on my computer or on the web when I travel, both interstate within Australia as well as internationally. We're going to be hiking in Norway, we're going to be on the Greek islands, we're going to be having a real adventure, and these are apps that I find really useful when I am traveling, and it will include some apps that I use to discover new hikes and things as well on the way. So we're not leaving the hiking just yet. So we're going to have a look at a few apps today, and I'm going to give you a few tips about them, how I use them, and how they might be useful for you. And I think these apps just make travel a little bit easier and a little smoother when you're dealing with the stress of crossing time zones, international borders, airports, that sort of thing, and you've got 4 kids in tow. Let's have a look at the apps. Don't forget, if you're enjoying the channel, to like and subscribe. I'd love to have you on board. Even hit that little bell icon-y thing, and when I put a new video out, which is weekly, you will get a notification. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's jump into the video right now. The first app we're going to talk about is one that I've been using for probably the best part of 8 or 9 years, and it's called Tripit. Tripit is awesome. I organise all my travel myself. I've never used travel agents. I book it online, I do my own research, and this app is just a great way of organising all my bookings that I've made into a very easy to read itinerary. It automatically creates an itinerary based on all the bookings I've made. It adds the flights in, it adds the car rentals, it adds the hotels, it'll add activities or concert tickets in there, and all puts it in a chronological order like you would get from a travel agent, your itinerary. I think it's fantastic, and I have been using it, like I said, for a very long time. You put your email address into the app, obviously, and then it combs your email occasionally, a few times a day. I think it might even be every hour, and it looks for reservations. And then it populates it into your itinerary, and it automatically knows, based on the dates of each reservation, whether or not to group these items together to form a trip. If it does it incorrectly, which it hardly ever has, you can manually edit it in the app itself. And the beauty with this is it's available as a web app, both online on the internet, as well as on an app on the iPhone and on the Android. And it's something that I use whenever I travel. Now, in addition to combing your email, you can just manually forward an itinerary on to plans@tripit.com, and then it knows, because of your email address it's coming from, where to put it in the app. And the best part about this app is the basic version is free, and unless you want alerts about flights and things, then the itinerary functionality is free. So if you just want it for that functionality, it is free. The paid version gives you things like being able to monitor seats on the plane, I think, I'll check that. Being able to get flight alerts by a text message and from the app when you're at the airport, telling you if your flight is delayed or if there's been a change. And I find that is often more up to date than the boards in the airport notifying you of flight changes. So that's really good. But I actually have trialed the paid version, and it's great, but I have found a better app, which we'll talk about next, which I use to monitor my flights. So yeah, that's Tripit. That's the first app. So yeah, we'll look at that app next, but Tripit is, I will use it for the foreseeable future. I know there are a couple of other apps out there. I think one's called Wanderlust. Did try it, didn't like it. I just prefer Tripit. Very straightforward, simple to use, and it gives me this itinerary that I can print out. I can give it to my mum when I'm going away, so she knows where I am and where to locate me. And it's a great app that I will continue to use. That brings us to the next app, which is another one kind of like Tripit, but it's just specifically for flights, and that one is called Flighty. That is a very cool app. I only discovered it a little while ago, and it has a free version and a paid version as well. And I initially just used the free version just to monitor friends' flights when I had to pick someone up from the airport. But I also found that when I put my own flights in there, it just provided cool maps. I could look at the history of where the plane I'm about to board had come from, and if it was running late and why it was running late. I just found it really good and functional, and a bit better than some of the other apps that you use to monitor planes in the sky. So yeah, this one's called Flighty. And it's good. You can filter it by my own flights or by friends' flights. So when you're picking people up, I find it really good for that, and I can monitor where they are, and it's very accurate with the timings. Even when you are on the plane, it'll give you an estimated location of where you are on the map, like the flight plan on the plane screens does. So does that make sense? I think that makes sense. But I've used it for about 6 or 7 months and find it really good. I actually upgraded to the paid version so I could get those real-time updates and messages if my flight has been delayed, if it's been cancelled, all that sort of stuff. So then I'm ahead of the curve. I find when I'm sitting in airport lounges and stuff, this thing will be updating the flight before the board does by a few minutes, and that can be useful if you need to go and change your flight or book another flight before everyone else. The other thing about this app is you can scroll through the specific flight details, and you can see the percentage of time that is on time, the percentage that it's delayed or late or cancelled, and you can get information about the plane, where it's been the last couple of days, which that's just interesting to know. I think that's pretty cool. And it also shows your history of traveling on this same flight. When you've done it, you can look back at past flights. Also connects to Tripit, the app I previously spoke about, and it pulls all your old history through. So it compiles it into this little history, and it can look at your past flights. So you can actually do a crazy little map thing where it overlays all your routes onto the globe, and you can see where you've flown in the past. It gives you great stats about your kilometers flown for the year. All this, it's useless information, but you know, it's good to know. I love stats, I love information, and it gives me how many kilometers I've traveled this year, how many flights I've been on, all that sort of stuff. So that is pretty cool. And after this big trip that we're going on, we might give you some stats on that. Don't know. But yeah, that is Flighty. I'm sure it does other stuff, but that's what I've been using it for. Next up is an app that I am sure you have heard of, and if you haven't, then maybe you're not advanced into the technological age yet, but it is called Google Maps. And I use Google Maps probably every single day, even here at home when I'm looking for restaurants, if I'm looking for a place to go, even if I want an estimate of how long it's going to take me to get somewhere, I find Google Maps absolutely awesome. I know it's a very popular app. I'm a big time Apple ecosystem boy, but I've got to say, I won't use Apple Maps, I use Google Maps. I'm used to it now, I prefer it. And when I'm going on a big trip like this, as I've been doing my planning over the last 12 months, every single hotel I've booked, every single backpackers hostel I have booked, every single little thing I'm interested in that I might want to have a look at while I'm away, I will save a pin of that place on Google Maps into a specific category or folder that I've created in Google Maps. And then I've got a list of all the accommodations I've booked on the map ready to go for when I get to an airport or to a train station. I can open Google Maps up, I can say, right, there's that list, there's the hotel I'm going to, tap on it and it gets me there. I don't have to plug in any addresses or anything because it's already there because I have saved it previously. And then it gives me a history as well. I can go back and look, oh, I went there. It's a great app. I'm sure you've used it, but it is one that you need to have for any time that you travel. It's also great for looking at public transportation stuff. If I'm traveling from the airport into the city, I can look at what buses, trains, etc. are going, and I have never had it fail me yet. It's always very accurate, and also with the times it takes for those trips as well, it is extremely accurate. I also use it to find, like I said, restaurants, things like that, and I'll look at the star ratings based on past reviews of other people, and I'll use that to determine if I want to go to a place or not. Really good. And then also when I'm just scrolling through the internet and social media and stuff, and I see a cool photo of a place and think, wow, I would love to go there one day, I pin it onto the map, I save it as a place that I would love to go to one day, and then when I'm planning trips down the track to a different country or wherever, I can have a look at the map and see, oh, I've obviously seen this place before and said it was somewhere I would like to go, so then I can add it to my itinerary when I eventually visit that place. So Google Maps, really good. It'll feature highly on this trip. It'll be helping me drive around these crazy places that I'm going to. It'll be helping me get my public transport, and yeah, it is one you should have on your phone if you don't already. Next app, and it's not one that I have actually used yet, but I'm going to use it on this trip because all the reviews point to using this and saying that it's a good thing to use, and that is an app called Airalo. Don't know. Anyway, it is one that gives you the ability to purchase an eSIM for your phone. They're the little SIM cards that are a virtual SIM card. They're a digital SIM card, not the actual physical SIM card. So you use the app, you load it onto your phone, you keep the SIM card in your phone that's in there for your local carrier and network in Australia for me. So I will still have my regular phone number on the phone, but I'm adding an eSIM which will give me data while I'm traveling, and Airalo Airalo allows me to not worry about the data I'm using internationally from my local carrier and buy a data plan while I am in Europe traveling around, and I'll be able to still use my Google Maps and these other apps because of this eSIM. So they've got a few different SIM cards you can purchase. They've got regional ones, they've got ones by country, they've got a global one. I'm going to be going for a regional Europe one. We're away for a couple of months, so we'll probably chew through the data. And the thing I did like about Airalo is that I can buy the eSIM and still use it as a hotspot. I can use my phone as a hotspot with my computer still, so I'm not limited there. Some do limit you in that perspective, in that you can't use it as a wireless hotspot, and that generally is the ones that offer unlimited data. So the Airalo one has 50 gigabytes for 90 days for $100. I'll probably go for that, I think. Anyway, you can look through all the options on the app, and that is one I'm taking. It's a new one. I'll let you know how it goes, but that is Airalo, and my wife will be using it too. We'll both have that, and it'll give us the ability to have data while we're traveling. Next up, it's another Google app. Google, love it. I think Apple have it as well, but again, I'm a bit of a Google travel ecosystem boy, I guess. Not an Apple one. I'm an Apple ecosystem boy, but not for this stuff. But anyway, we're using Google Translate. That's one that I have loaded on the phone. I've downloaded the languages for each country that I'm visiting, so I don't need to worry about the data usage for those. And the beauty with Google Translate is you can speak to it, you can take a photo of a sign and it will translate it for you. You can plug it in just in text. It does all that stuff. Very straightforward app to use, and I haven't used it for a few years, but I'm looking forward to using it again, and it'll be featured on the phone. It'll be there if I need it, and I will try and encourage myself to try and speak the language, but when I can't, this will be really handy. So we'll see how that goes. It's a good app, tried and tested. Lots of people review it and recommend it, and it's one I use as well, Google Translate. Next up, it's not a specific app as such, it's a group of apps, and that is for the airlines I'm flying with while I'm away, which is quite a few. I have downloaded the app for every airline. And the reason I do this is twofold. One is so I can check in with the app the moment the flight opens. A lot of these airlines, especially the budget ones in Europe, will overbook flights, so you want to be checking in as soon as you can, as soon as check-in opens, so you don't miss out on a seat. So I've done that. I've downloaded all the apps for about 7 airlines, and I've got them there. And the other thing is also with people like Singapore Airlines, if you're using a tablet on the plane for entertainment, then the app will often connect to the in-flight system so you can watch all their content on your device and not rely on the in-seat device. Same with Virgin Australia. So you download the app before you leave. You need to do it before you go, so you're not on the plane and going, oh. And some planes here in Australia don't have Wi-Fi, so you can't download it while you're up there. So I download them all before I go, and then if I use them, I use them. If I don't, I don't. But I've got them there with peace of mind that I can check in, that I can find out about the airline if I'm sitting in the airport. It's there, it's ready to go. And yeah, I think it's just a good idea to download any app for any airline you're traveling with, including ferries as well. We're in Greece, we're going on some ferries. I have downloaded the app called Ferry Hopper, which in the Greek islands, if you're on boats, that's generally where you buy your tickets, so you can have them all on your phone and you don't need to get a physical ticket. You can just scan your ticket as you get onto the ferry with that app. So yeah, that's the airlines and the ferry apps. Next one is probably something you have heard of. It is an app I use called ExpressVPN. Now, I've got no affiliation to any of these apps, by the way. I've got no affiliation at all. That's just the one I use. There are heaps of VPN apps out there. I use ExpressVPN just because I've used it for a few years. It basically encrypts your IP address when you are logged into public Wi-Fi or something. It sort of disguises your IP address in your computer, so hopefully it can't get attacked or compromised while you are browsing the internet on a public Wi-Fi network. The other thing with it is, if I'm in that other country and want to watch Netflix there, I can set my location to whichever country I like, and I can watch Netflix from those other countries. Netflix allows you to do that. They allow you, but is it okay? Don't know. But I can watch my Netflix in France or wherever I am if I wanted to. But yeah, I just use that for peace of mind and safety, but I will also tether to my phone whenever I can. But I just generally have ExpressVPN turned on all the time. I'm pretty wary about computer and internet security and ensure that I use that most of the time, especially when I'm traveling, because I've heard some horror stories of people getting hacked on public Wi-Fi networks overseas. So that's just another one. Very simple. It goes on my phone, it goes on my computer, and it's ExpressVPN. Next one is another app for around the airport, and that is called Lounge Buddy. Now, I'm a frequent flyer with Virgin Australia, and as a result of that, I've got access to lounges and their affiliate lounges. But the trouble you have is that when you are traveling, you don't know where the lounges are in the airport or if you've got access to them. And with a couple of the credit cards that I take with me, I also have access to lounges with them, with things like the Amex. They've got a lounge in some airports. So the thing with Lounge Buddy, it allows you to plug in your memberships and any credit cards or flight memberships you have. Then you can plug in your flight details. Then it will know what terminals and stuff you'll be in because you've put in your flight details, and it knows which lounges you can access based on your memberships, and it can tell you the details on, in this airport you can go to this lounge with one guest. Or if you go to this airport, you can go to this lounge and you can pay this much for an extra guest. And it's just nice when you're traveling, especially with kids, to have some access to some lounges where you can just go in and just chill out, and the kids can munch on the buffet and you can just relax in between flights. So we'll be using that. I use it a lot anyway. It's an easy way of identifying somewhere you might be able to go that you might not have realized without the app. So we've used it in places like Singapore before. Even when the app tells me that it's limited to one extra guest, I still go and ask if I can bring my wife and 4 kids in, and sometimes they'll let me. So thanks those people in those lounges that have done that. But it's a good app, it's free, and yeah, that's Lounge Buddy. Thanks for the Lounge Buddy, bird. That's Lounge Buddy. Our final app is one that I use all the time anyway, just to find good hiking trails and walking trails when I'm traveling. And I use it around town just to find shortcuts and stuff. And I have talked about it briefly in past videos, but it's an app called All Trails. And I don't use it so much to track my activities. I use my Garmin and Strava for that. But I use this just to identify an area where I'm going to where there might be trails that I want to do. And it's sort of my first place that I will look, and I will have zoom in on a map in an area and see what trails are around. And then it gives you some useful information. You can tap on known trails and walks, and you can get some information about the grade of the walk, how far it is, what it's like. And it's just a good way to discover the areas. I will then go into Google and then start Googling the names of those walks, finding out more information, getting as much information as I can before I go and make a decision whether or not to do it. If it's just a short trip in a city, then it's great. I can be walking around and go, oh, there's a little trail going up there. That looks all right. It's only 500 meters. It's a kilometer. And then I will go and do that little walk using the All Trails. I just use the free version, mainly just for that feature where I can zoom in on the map and have a look at what's about. And it gives me a bit of information on each walk. It does have a paid function. I will try and flash something on the screen for what that includes, because I'm not 100% sure, but I think it gives you ability to track your walk, save them, share them, all that sort of thing. But All Trails is just a good app to have when you're traveling, and just have it with you every day if you're wanting to discover walks and things. While we're away, we're going to be doing a fair bit of hiking, especially in places like Norway, and this is going to be invaluable, I think, and I probably may even upgrade for the trip to the paid version if I think it's worth it. But that is All Trails, great app, worth a look, and it's got the web app as well, so you can put it on your phone, you can have a look at it on your computer, and it just gives you a good source of information for all those walks that may be around the area that you didn't know about. Like I have said before, I don't rely on this 100% for accuracy, because there are cases where it's proven inaccurate with trails, but I will use it as a good starting point. I will use my Garmin app as well if I'm out there, that attaches to my InReach messenger, which I've talked about ad nauseum on this channel. But I'm going to take that, see how it goes, and we'll review it afterwards. One bonus app, so we can get to the top 10, or the 10 apps, so I can call it a 10 app video. So this app that I'm going to talk about is one called Accuweather. And that is just great because it gives me weather no matter what country I'm in for that area. And I can look ahead to see what the weather is like in Paris or Oslo or wherever I'm going. I can look at the weather. It's an international weather app, and it's not just sort of based on Australian weather. So it's just a good one for having a look at the weather and the patterns for where I'm going. I haven't used it heaps, but I've been using it lately just to look what the weather's like where I'm going and what I can expect in terms of temperature while I'm planning. So that is the last one. That is Accuweather. Very straightforward. It's a weather app. Don't need to go into it much more than that, but it will just give me an idea of what the weather is doing in those countries. So there you have it. That is 10 apps that I take traveling. A couple of them are new, so we're going to see how they go, and I will certainly put it in the comments below if I think one of them isn't any good, but I've used most of them before. Shouldn't be a problem. If you found the video helpful, then please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe, hit that bell button. More videos coming every week. Even while we're away, we're going to have a video coming out every week. So look forward to seeing you. Don't forget to subscribe, like, all that good stuff. If you've got any apps that you think I should have on this list or that I should be using while I'm away, I'd love to hear about them. I'm always looking for more information about this stuff. Please leave them below in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, you might enjoy this one. That's where I go through a few items that I take that are all less than $50 that I take both hiking, and pretty much all of those will come on this trip with me as well. So check that video out, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Till then, have a great day and see you later.